Today I'm going to show you how to do a technique called Sgraffito. This is a leather hard bowl that is just a little bit past leather hard, so can't really move clay on the surface, but it is still in a leather hard window. And I just painted Hare on it, and I let that set back up. It's a little wet right here on the nose, but that should set up while I'm working. I have several carving tools. These are just for like carving different designs, different sizes. And you know, this triangle one, this one's just a little bit smaller. I squished it with a needle nose pliers. And these are great tools for me to do a little carving into the rabbit to create a design. So Sgraffito is a word that means to scratch. So now that this is leather hard, I can come back in with my carving tool and carve through the underglaze layer down to the clay body. So the clay body becomes the drawn line. So I'm just gonna start up here where the eye is, and I'm gonna start scratching through the outer layer down to the clay body. And I love this because, okay, first of all, I painted the rabbit a dark gray, and that's gonna allow more contrast with the white clay coming through. And I know this clay body doesn't look that white right now, but once it fires, it will look much whiter and brighter, and it will also have more contrast. Let's really sharpen up that ear here. And I use different tools for different reasons. I really do like them all. They make different marks, and that's the thing about Sgraffito. I think about it like drawing, and that I think that it really, I like to have different thicknesses of lines. So I change those lines as I start working. And I do try to kind of run the lines with the contour of the body, but you can do anything you want. Like if you want to make a flower in the center, you can do that. Whatever you want to do is just fine. But I'm just talking a little bit about you know, the way I work. And so this one works really good to have like these larger pieces. Now I like this one because it can get a little scratchier. I don't really like using a needle tool that much. I know everybody has needle tools in their kit, but it kind of scratches instead of removing the clay. So like this tool has a loop, and that kind of works a little bit like a shovel to remove the clay as I'm working, but the needle tool kind of drags, and so it doesn't really work. Now, I'm not saying I don't use the needle tool ever, but I am saying that I'm really specific about it. Okay, for removing debris, a dry brush works really well. And you can kind of create this, you know, an interesting, you know, hair-like design on this animal, but people use Sgraffito in a lot of other ways. A few people that I think are really amazing at Sgraffito, Sue Terrell is one of my favorites, and then Glynis Lessing from Minnesota, also from Minnesota, Matthew Metz. These are all people that I think do a fabulous job with Sgraffito, and they're really worth taking a look at. Okay, you can see those little pieces. Oh, those drive me crazy. And I'm just gonna get those off there. Now, it's not really a deep carving. This is, you know, pretty surface level. It's just because I want to get a little bit more texture, but not so much that like food's gonna stick in it. So this is just to get, you know, a little bit of interest on the surface. Now, some of those pieces kind of sticking in there a little bit more, but they'll come off once it dries a little bit more. Now in the background, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do back here. It might be a solid color, or I might create some flowers and do Sgraffito inside of those as well. Anyway, this is how you do Sgraffito on a leather hard vessel or sculpture. In this case, a plate bowl, a plol, if you will. And I just kind of mapped out with an outline the shape of the rabbit first, and then I painted inside of it. And I actually painted in with a gray, a light gray, and I was like, nope, that's not enough contrast for me. I really like a darker contrast. So you can do it any way you want. I just think it's just a different way of playing around with surface, making an interesting surface, and having some fun with the clay, you know. All right, so just to recap, Sgraffito, spelled with an S, is not the same as one of my previous videos on graffito paper. And I know it's confusing. My students often get confused by it, but I just wanted to make sure you know that they're not the same. You know, Sgraffito is a process of applying underglaze and carving through it. Graffito paper is a kind of a carbon underglaze, but carbon-like transfer paper. So it's not carbon, but I mean, that's what it reminds me of, like, you know, duplicate check kind of situation. Not that anybody does that anymore, but you know. Okay, this is kind of a good start. I'll have to work into it some more, but you can kind of see that those lines are like varied, and you know, I'll take my time and really have a lot of layers so it looks hair-like. Pardon the pun. All right, have a great day, and I'll be back with more videos soon.